all know, it was recently Prime Day, and I was just scrolling through on there looking for some new watches. Obviously, there's been some chaos trying to get watches from AliExpress with tariffs and that all, and I've been just trying to find other brands. And I saw these Nibs watches on Amazon. I don't really have any experience with the brand, but they do look like your standard homage-style Chinese watches, so I figured I'd give it a try. You'll see, obviously, on the thumbnail what this watch is, but the thing that intrigued me is that there are over 20 different colorways for this watch, which is very interesting. Popping it open, it's not the worst box. It's not like super cheap. It's like very hard cardboard. You get all your typical stuff in here. Sorry about the little thumb band-aid, guys. Got a little cooking injury there. But you get a cleaning cloth. You get international guarantee, which is meaningless on a watch of this price point, and an instruction manual. But there you can see the watch. It looks like you also get a link remover, which is fairly nice, and it honestly kind of looks... It's not the worst quality. It's probably standard, or if not a little bit better than what you get in all those kind of generic toolkits, but it is a day-date style Rolex homage. You can see I haven't even taken the plastic off of it yet. I wanted this to be a real true kind of right off the box unboxing. Peeling off the plastic there. There are some interesting things about this watch. Let's get a closer look at the face. I'm going to pull the plastic off first also, and then let's just take a little dive into Nibs watches. So here we are looking a little closer at this watch. It is a rose gold overall watch. You know, the bracelet, the case are rose gold, but the face is kind of like a brown. It looks a little copperish to me, which honestly, that's, I think, the nicest part of this watch. Probably the best thing I'm going to be able to say about it, but it is a day-date style. As you can see here, again, sorry about the Band-Aid. I know it's not the most appealing. The winding is very sensitive. But you can see the zoom in there from the date window magnifier is just absolutely atrocious. Let's see if it actually turns over right at midnight. Yeah, that's actually really good. Then you can see it's probably going to take an hour or so for the data change. Does 2 full clicks there. It's finished by about 2:30 a.m. Honestly, for a $23 watch, which is what I paid for it, not terrible. The first real glaring issue I see is just this bracelet. Look at the amount of bend it has right off the bat. You know, like it's super cheap. It is push pin links, so that's pretty standard for a watch of this price point, but it is just, you could hear it. It just sounds like tin. I don't know what you would expect for a watch at this price point, but yeah, it's not great. The overall quality of the watch and the detail, it's not terrible. All the writing on the face is very difficult to read, as you could see. The Arabic numerals around the outside, or the Roman numerals, are not... They're not bad, but they're also very difficult to see based on just the way they kind of color it. The back of the watch doesn't really have anything on it either. The clasp is absolute garbage, probably one of the cheaper clasps that they make, if not one of the cheapest watch clasp out there. I'm not even going to bother resizing this because I know I'm not going to wear this watch, but as you can see, it is not going to have any lume on it, which is not a big deal, but let's just throw it on my wrist just to kind of see what it looks like in general. But it's not bad looking. It is kind of thick. I'm going to see if they have the product specifications on the site. I just bought this right off Amazon. Normally, Amazon is not super great with that stuff, but it does look a little boxy. It's a little chunky looking. Not the most sleek and cool looking, but for 20 some odd dollars, if you're going for that, you're not going to be super disappointed, but it definitely wears like a $20 watch. The posting itself does not have any information on the sizing of this watch, so I'm going to measure that all up for you. Right off the bat, we're looking at 13.78 millimeters thick, so right around a 14 millimeter thick watch. Kind of big. We got a lug to lug here of 46. Not terrible. The watch face itself is a 40 millimeter watch, not terrible. And at the bracelet, you're sitting at 20 millimeters, and it tapers slightly down to 16. You're going to pull that off, so it's probably about a 20 to an 18 millimeter taper. Those product specifications are fairly normal. I do think it is definitely a little bit thick, and I think that's probably one of the things that's going to keep most people from actually enjoying this watch. obviously aside from its cheapness. But if that's something you're looking for, or you're just trying to get somebody an entry-level watch, it is definitely a little bit thick. But overall impressions, this is probably one of the cheapest brands I've reviewed, and it does show. I don't think it's overall necessarily a bad thing, but I don't think there's any merit to purchasing this watch or this Nibs brand. You know, aside from the box, everything else is pretty below average. You know, I've gotten watches in the $100, $150, $200 range that have crappier little cases than this. This thing is fairly decent for what you're expecting, but just trying to find some good, cheap, Chinese-made average watches on Amazon, and there really is a large market missing for that. You know, there's not a lot there for you to grab, and the price point between these and some of the more expensive watches that they always have on sale, like a Citizen or Bulova, Timex, Casios, I would just kind of save up your money and go for something better, because these 20 some odd dollar, and this is even right now not on sale, it's 30 something bucks. I don't think in good faith I could tell you to buy a Nibs, and I don't see why you would want to. There are better options out there. If you can still get from AliExpress without super high jacked up prices, go for it. But other than that, this is probably the worst brand on Amazon.